the massive alien warship appeared without warning above Earth's orbit on a quiet Tuesday morning in 2157. Its dark metal hull stretched longer than 3 aircraft carriers placed end to end, blocking out the stars like an artificial eclipse. Within hours, 6 more ships joined it, their formations creating a perfect hexagon around the planet. Earth's most powerful telescopes had never spotted them coming. One moment humanity thought they were alone in the solar system, the next they faced the most advanced space fleet anyone had ever seen. Inside the United Nations emergency session in New York, world leaders watched in stunned silence as the main view screen flickered to life. The alien that appeared looked almost like a marble statue, tall with gray-white skin that seemed to shimmer under the lights. Its 4 eyes blinked in an unsettling pattern as it spoke in perfect English. "I am High Commander Rex of the Damen. Your world has been marked for integration into our empire. You have achieved spaceflight far too early according to our civilizational development metrics. This makes you unpredictable, dangerous. You have 2 Earth days to surrender control of your military and government facilities. Resistance will result in immediate planetary pacification." The room erupted in chaos. The Russian president stood up, his face red with anger. The Chinese premier demanded proof that this wasn't an elaborate hoax. The American president simply stared at the screen, his coffee cup frozen halfway to his mouth. But it was the Indian Prime Minister who first noticed something odd. "They're speaking all Earth languages simultaneously," she said, pointing to the various translators who sat confused at their stations. "Their technology isn't just advanced, it's beyond anything we can comprehend." High Commander Rex continued, his voice eerily calm. "The Dominion has ruled 300 star systems for 10,000 years. We have encountered 47 spacefaring species. All have submitted, all have been improved by our guidance. Your species will be no different." In orbit, Earth's primitive defense satellites tried to scan the alien vessels. Each satellite went dark the moment its signals touched the Dominion ships. The International Space Station crew reported that their instruments were showing impossible readings, energy levels that would make a nuclear reactor look like a birthday candle. At military bases worldwide, pilots scrambled to their fighters only to find that none of their advanced aircraft would start. Something was interfering with all military technology more sophisticated than simple firearms. "Your military capabilities have been temporarily suspended," Rex announced, as if reading their thoughts. "This is standard procedure for potentially hostile species. The Dominion believes in peaceful integration whenever possible." The UN Secretary General finally found his voice. "And if we refuse?" All 4 of Rex's eyes narrowed. "Observe," one of the smaller Dominion ships turned slightly, firing a thin beam of light at an uninhabited area of the Pacific Ocean. On the view screens, everyone watched as a perfect circle of water 10 kilometers wide simply vanished, not boiled away, not displaced. The water and everything in it down to the ocean floor had ceased to exist. "That was approximately 1/1000th of our main weapon's power," Rex said. "You have 2 days to prepare your surrender ceremony. We expect your world leaders assembled in your United Nations building. The Dominion will then begin the process of uplifting your species to its proper place in the galactic order." The transmission ended, leaving Earth's leaders staring at each other in horror. Outside the UN building, crowds had gathered, their phones pointed at the alien ships visible in the daytime sky. News channels worldwide broadcast the same images, humanity's first contact with alien life, and it came with an ultimatum. In a small office adjacent to the main chamber, a group of military leaders from various nations had already gathered. General James J.S. White of the U.S. Joint Chiefs looked at his colleagues, his expression grim but determined. "They expect us to just give up," he said quietly. "They think we'll lay down and die because they have better weapons." He stood up, his weathered face set with determination. I say we show these Dominion tyrants exactly what humanity does when backed into a corner." The others nodded. Humanity's fight for survival was about to begin. 47 hours after the Dominion's ultimatum, the world's military leaders gathered in a hardened bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. The room buzzed with tension as General White stood at the front, his face illuminated by emergency lighting. "Our conventional weapons are useless," he said, pointing to a basic paper map on the wall. "But we've discovered something interesting. They only disable our advanced technology. Simple weapons, rifles, basic explosives, even old diesel engines still work perfectly." The Russian general leaned forward. "We noticed the same thing. Our most basic equipment remains functional. It's as if they never considered we might still use such primitive tools." Around the world, a plan was taking shape. While the Dominion ships loomed overhead, expecting surrender, humanity prepared for something entirely different. In thousands of hidden locations, soldiers traded their modern rifles for simpler weapons. Mechanical vehicles replaced digital ones. Radio operators dug out old analog equipment. At the appointed hour, High Commander Rex's image appeared on every working screen worldwide. "Your time has expired. We await your surrender at the designated location." The UN Secretary-General stood alone at the podium in New York. His message was brief: humanity's response is this: we choose to stand. The first Dominion ground troops arrived within minutes. They materialized in the streets of major cities worldwide, tall figures in gleaming armor that seemed to shift colors like oil on water. Their weapons were almost beautiful, sleek rifles that hummed with energy. But they had made a crucial mistake. In London, the aliens found empty streets as they marched in perfect formation. Old cars suddenly roared to life, their engines screaming as they rammed into the invaders. Simple steel and gasoline proved surprisingly effective against troops used to dealing with energy weapons. In Tokyo, resistance fighters used crossbows with steel-tipped bolts. The arrows weren't stopped by the aliens' energy shields, which were designed to deflect plasma and laser fire. The Dominion troops fell in confusion, never expecting to face such ancient weapons. Moscow's defense came from above, at subway tunnels. Fighters armed with basic firearms and homemade explosives emerged from hidden entrances, striking fast and disappearing into the underground maze. The aliens' advanced sensors, calibrated for high-tech energy signatures, struggled to track humans using purely mechanical weapons. High Commander Rex's voice moved across the planet again, this time with a note of frustration: "This defiance is pointless. You cannot hope to defeat us with such primitive methods." The response came from 1,000 hidden radio transmitters, broadcasting on frequencies so old the Dominion systems barely recognized them as communication. In every major language, the same message played: "We are humanity. We do not submit. We do not surrender. We stand." The aliens' ground forces retreated after 6 hours of unexpected losses. Their ships in orbit began systematic bombardment of military targets but found most bases empty, the equipment and personnel long since moved to hidden locations. In the Rocky Mountain bunker, General White watched the reports come in. "Day 1 casualties are high," he admitted to the assembled leaders. "But we've proved something critical. They can be hurt. They can be surprised. They're not gods, just bullies who've never faced real resistance." The Chinese general nodded in agreement. "They expected us to think like them, to fight like them. Instead, we fight like us." As night fell over a changed Earth, humanity had sent its message. The Dominion wanted surrender, instead, they got a war. In hidden bases and secret bunkers, engineers were already studying captured alien equipment. Earth's greatest minds worked to understand their weaknesses, while soldiers prepared for the long fight ahead. The Dominion had ruled 300 worlds through fear and superior technology, but they had never faced humans before. They were about to learn why that was a serious mistake. 2 weeks into the war, Captain Mark Reed sat in an underground lab, staring at a captured alien ship. The small scout vessel had crashed near Denver during a battle, and humans had recovered it before the Dominion could destroy it. Now it sat in a massive concrete bunker, surrounded by Earth's best scientists. "We found something strange," said Dr. Lisa Brown, pointing to her simple paper notes. "The ship's controls don't just respond to physical input, they're meant to connect directly with the pilot's mind." Reed looked at the alien cockpit with its strange, smooth surfaces. No buttons, no switches, just flowing metal that seemed almost alive. "Can we use it?" "That's the interesting part," Dr. Brown smiled. "We tried connecting their neural interface to human test subjects. The Dominion's own technology works better with human brains than with their own. Initial tests proved stunning. While Dominion pilots could control their ships through thought, humans could do more, much more. Their brains formed deeper connections, accessing systems in ways the aliens never imagined possible." Reed volunteered to be the first combat pilot. As he sat in the alien cockpit, scientists attached small metal discs to his temples. "Remember," Dr. Brown warned, "start slow. Just try to make it. Hover." Instead, the moment Reed's mind connected with the ship, he felt everything, every system, every sensor, every tiny power fluctuation flowed through his consciousness. The ship didn't feel like a machine, it felt like a new body. The captured scout ship rose smoothly from the floor. Reed made it spin, dance, and weave through the air with perfect control. His thoughts didn't just pilot the ship, they became the ship. "This is impossible," one alien tech expert whispered, watching the display. "The neural load should be too much for any organic brain." But it wasn't. More human pilots tried, and they all showed the same ability. Something about human neural patterns allowed deeper integration with the technology than its creators had ever achieved. High Commander Rex noticed the change in battle patterns first. A small group of captured and converted Dominion ships began appearing in skirmishes worldwide. They moved in ways that should have been impossible, evading every shot, striking with perfect precision. "How are they doing this?" Rex demanded, watching another squadron of his ships fall to a much smaller human force. "Find out what they've done to our technology." The answer came from his science division: "Sir, they haven't changed anything. They're just better at using it than we are. Their minds can handle deeper integration. We never imagined this was even possible." Around the world, more human pilots joined the neural training program. Each success revealed new capabilities in the alien tech. Humans could push the systems harder, react faster, and control multiple functions simultaneously in ways the Dominion had never attempted. In the Rocky Mountain bunker, General White watched the latest battle footage with growing hope. "They gave us the tools of our own liberation," he said quietly. "Their greatest weapon has become our greatest strength." Reed, now leading the first human neural squadron, pushed the advantages further each day. His pilots learned to link their ships together, sharing sensor data and coordinating with inhuman precision. The Dominion's strict military doctrine had no answer for the creative chaos of human combat tactics. Dr. Brown's team made another discovery: the neural interface worked with more than just ships. Every piece of Dominion technology could potentially be controlled this way. Their entire technological civilization had been built on a foundation that, ironically, humans could use better than they could. As the sun set on the first month of war, humanity had found its edge. The Dominion's absolute technological superiority had become their weakness. Now, in labs and bases around the world, humans prepared to push this advantage to its limits. The real question was, What else could human minds do with alien tech that its creators had never dreamed possible? 6 weeks into the war, Dr. Brown's underground lab had changed dramatically. Captured alien technology covered every surface. Teams of scientists worked around the clock, taking apart Dominion devices and learning their secrets. But their biggest breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A young engineer named Mike Torres was studying a broken alien rifle when he noticed something odd. "These weapons," he called out to Dr. Brown, "they're designed to work only one way." They never considered someone might try to change them. Dr. Brown looked up from her own work. "What do you mean?" Torres held up the rifle. "It's like they stopped innovating centuries ago. Every piece is perfect, but there's no room for improvement, no adaptation. They built everything to be exactly the same forever." This discovery sparked a revolution in human resistance. While the Dominion expected humans to simply use their captured technology, Earth's scientists began taking it apart and putting it back together in new ways. In a hidden factory in Detroit, workers combined alien energy cells with old car engines, creating hybrid vehicles that could outrun anything on Earth. Brazilian engineers merged Dominion shield technology with simple steel armor, making it twice as effective. Indian scientists found ways to power entire cities using tiny pieces of alien tech combined with regular power plants. The Dominion never saw it coming. Their first hint was when their ground troops encountered human vehicles that shouldn't exist, trucks with energy shields, simple guns firing alien plasma, and communication devices that mixed Earth radio with Dominion quantum signals. High Commander Rex received increasingly worried reports. "The humans are corrupting our perfect technology," one officer complained. "They're mixing it with their primitive machines in ways that make no sense." But it made perfect sense to humans. Dr. Brown's team discovered that the Dominion's rigid thinking was their greatest weakness. "They're so advanced," she explained to military leaders, "that they forgot how to be creative. They don't know how to combine old and new technology because they never had to." The breakthrough that changed everything came when Torres found a way to merge human computer code with Dominion AI systems. The aliens had built their computers to be perfect but unchangeable. Humans made theirs flexible and adaptable. When combined, they created something entirely new. In the sky above Earth, the first hybrid fighters appeared. They looked like normal jets on the outside, but inside they ran on a mixture of human and alien technology. Captain Reed's Neuralink pilots flew them with deadly effectiveness, using capabilities the Dominion had never imagined possible. "They're adapting too fast," Rex raged, watching another battle end in human victory. "How are they learning our technology so quickly?" The answer was simple: humans had spent their entire history learning, changing, and improving. The Dominion had spent thousands of years staying the same. Dr. Brown's team made copies of their discoveries and sent them to resistance groups worldwide. Soon every major city had workshops turning out hybrid weapons and vehicles. Ordinary people found ways to combine household electronics with alien tech, creating tools the Dominion couldn't track or counter. "Their perfection is their weakness," Torres told a group of new engineers. "They built everything to work exactly one way, perfectly. We're building things to work any way we can imagine." In orbit, the Dominion fleet faced a new kind of enemy. Human ships now carried weapons that shouldn't have existed, combinations of technologies that their sensors couldn't even recognize. Every battle brought new surprises as Earth's engineers kept innovating, kept combining, kept creating. The Dominion had given humanity access to advanced technology, expecting them to be overwhelmed. Instead, humans had done what they did best: they adapted, improved, and made it their own. The war was about to enter a new phase, and for the first time, the Dominion began to feel something they hadn't experienced in thousands of years: doubt. Operation Thunderstrike began at dawn. Captain Reed sat in his hybrid fighter, leading a squadron of 50 pilots. Their ships looked like a mix of Earth and Dominion technology because they were. Below them, 1,000 resistance fighters waited with their own hybrid weapons. Remember, Reed's voice came through the old-style radio mixed with alien quantum comms. We only get one shot at this. Make it count. The target was the Dominion's main base in North America, a massive facility they'd built in the Nevada desert. The aliens had chosen the location for its isolation. Today that isolation would work against them. High Commander Rex himself was visiting the base, confident in its defenses. The facility was surrounded by the most advanced shield technology in the galaxy. No enemy had breached a Dominion shield in 10,000 years. But humans weren't fighting like any enemy they'd faced before. The attack began with something the Dominion never expected: silence. All their advanced sensors showed nothing approaching. They didn't realize that the human ships now ran on hybrid systems their sensors couldn't detect. The first sign of attack came when hundreds of old-fashioned missiles modified with alien tech slammed into their shields. The explosions weren't meant to break through, they were meant to distract. While the Dominion's attention focused on the missile barrage, Reed's squadron dove from high altitude. Their hybrid fighters combined Earth's best stealth technology with Dominion power systems. They slipped through gaps in the sensor coverage that the aliens didn't even know existed. Now, Reed commanded. His pilots activated their neural links, connecting directly with their ships. 50 human minds merged with hybrid technology, moving with impossible precision. The Dominion's perfect defense grid had one flaw: it was designed to stop either human weapons or Dominion weapons. It wasn't designed to stop both at once. The hybrid fighters fired synchronized blasts of combined Earth and alien weaponry. The shields buckled under an attack they weren't programmed to resist. On the ground, resistance fighters emerged from hidden bunkers. They carried weapons that looked like they'd been built in a garage because they had been. Simple guns modified with alien power cells. Old tanks upgraded with Dominion shield technology. Radio-controlled drones merged with alien AI. High Commander Rex watched in disbelief as his supposedly impregnable base was breached from multiple directions at once. "Impossible," he shouted. "Their technology is inferior. Their tactics make no sense." But that was exactly why it worked. The Dominion had spent 10,000 years perfecting their way of war. Humans had spent 2 months learning it and then changing everything about it. Reed's squadron split into smaller groups, each attacking in a different pattern. Some used pure speed, others used stealth, others used raw power. The Dominion's defensive computers couldn't adapt to so many different attack styles at once. In orbit, the alien fleet received desperate calls for help. But as they moved to assist, they faced a new problem. The humans hadn't just modified weapons and fighters, they'd found ways to disrupt the Dominion's entire command and control system. Dr. Brown's team had discovered that the aliens relied entirely on their advanced technology for everything. They had no backups, no alternatives, no plan B. When human hybrid tech began interfering with their communications, their entire fleet fell into chaos. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it ended, humanity had captured the largest Dominion base on Earth. More importantly, they'd captured something else: proof that they could win. As Reed landed his fighter, he looked at the alien soldiers being taken prisoner. For the first time, he saw fear in their four-eyed faces. The Dominion had just lost their first major battle in 10,000 years. And this was only the beginning. News of Earth's victory spread across the Dominion's empire like wildfire. The aliens tried to hide their defeat, but they couldn't stop their own communication networks, especially now that humans had learned to hack them. Dr. Brown and her team made their greatest discovery yet while studying captured Dominion data networks. "Look at this," she told General White, pointing to a simple computer screen. There are 300 conquered worlds out there, and every single one is watching Earth. The images showed alien species of all kinds watching leaked footage of human victories. They saw hybrid weapons defeating perfect Dominion technology. They watched Earth's fighters using creativity and adaptation to win impossible battles. Most importantly, they saw hope. The first rebellion started on a mining world called Blue Rock. Its people, tall blue-skinned beings who had been slaves for centuries, started copying human tactics. They turned their mining tools into weapons, just as Earth had modified its simple technology. High Commander Rex received the reports with growing alarm. These primitives dare to copy the humans, he raged. But he couldn't stop it. More worlds began to rise up, each one learning from Earth's example. Captain Reed, now commanding Earth's first space fleet of hybrid ships, saw an opportunity. "We can help them," he told the military council. "We can teach them what we've learned." The mission was dangerous. Earth forces would have to travel far from home through Dominion space. But the potential rewards were worth the risk. Humanity would gain allies, and the Dominion would face enemies on multiple fronts. Torres had developed a new kind of ship for the mission. It looked like a regular Earth cargo vessel on the outside, but inside it carried something more valuable than weapons: knowledge. Data cores full of human innovations, engineering plans, and battle tactics. Reed led the first mission himself. His small fleet slipped through Dominion space, using their hybrid technology. The aliens were still looking for either pure human or pure Dominion signatures. They never detected the ships running on both. On each rebel world, Earth's teams taught the locals how to modify their own technology. "The key isn't copying us exactly," Torres explained to a group of resistance fighters on Blue Rock. "It's learning to think differently, to combine things in new ways." The Dominion's perfect empire began cracking at the seams. Every world had its own technology, its own resources, its own ideas. When they combined these with human innovation, each rebellion became unique. The Dominion couldn't adapt to hundreds of different fighting styles at once. Dr. Brown's team developed a computer virus unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. It combined Earth's crude but flexible programming with Dominion quantum computing. When it hit the alien command networks, their perfect systems began to fail. "How are they doing this?" Rex demanded, watching reports of rebellion spreading faster than his forces could respond. "How can primitive species defeat our perfect technology?" The answer came from an unexpected source, one of his own officers. "Sir," the young commander said quietly, "maybe perfection is the problem. These species are all different, all changing, all adapting. We've stayed the same for 10,000 years." Back on Earth, General White received messages from across the galaxy. Species that had been enslaved for generations now asked humans for guidance, not in conquest, but in freedom. Earth's resistance had become something bigger, a revolution that spanned the stars. Reed's fleet grew as ships from other worlds joined him, each bringing new ideas, new technologies, new ways of fighting. The Dominion's perfectly organized military had no answer for this chaos of creativity and innovation. The war had changed. It was no longer about defending Earth. It had become a fight for freedom across the entire galaxy. The combined fleet gathered at the edge of Dominion home space. 5,000 ships from 300 worlds, each one unique. Captain Reed stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the massive force humanity had helped create. "All fleets report ready," his communications officer announced. The officer wasn't human. He was from Blue Rock, his blue skin glowing under the bridge light. Around the ship, dozens of species worked together, each bringing their own strengths to the fight. Dr. Brown's voice came through the command channel. "The virus is ready." Once we upload it to their main networks, their entire defense grid will crash. She had worked with scientists from 20 different worlds to create this final weapon, a virus that could think and adapt like its human creators. High Commander Rex knew they were coming. He had gathered the Dominion's remaining forces around their home world. 10,000 ships, all identical, all perfect, all running the same flawless systems that had kept the Empire strong for 10,000 years. "Let them come," Rex announced to his fleet. "Our perfection cannot be defeated by this chaos of primitive species." But he was wrong. The battle began with something no one expected, a message from Earth. General White's face appeared on every screen in Dominion space. "We offer you one chance," he said simply. "Surrender. End your empire. Join us as equals, not rulers. Show us that even the Dominion can adapt and change." Rex's response was immediate. "The Dominion does not change. The Dominion does not surrender. The Dominion is perfect." "No," Reed replied. "The Dominion is finished." The battle that followed would be remembered for centuries. The rebel fleet attacked from 1,000 different directions, using 1,000 different strategies. Each species brought their own style of fighting, their own modified technology, their own innovations. Torres's hybrid weapons proved devastating. Some ships fired traditional missiles with alien power cores, others used Dominion energy weapons modified with human targeting systems. Each weapon was unique, each attack unexpected. Dr. Brown's virus struck the Dominion's networks like lightning. Their perfect systems, designed to resist any normal attack, had no defense against code that could think and change and adapt. Ship after ship lost power as their computers crashed. Rex watched in horror as his fleet fell into chaos. "Impossible," he shouted. "We are perfect. We cannot lose." But that perfection was their downfall. While the rebel ships could adapt their tactics and technology mid-battle, the Dominion ships kept trying the same failing strategies over and over. The battle lasted 12 hours. When it ended, the Dominion fleet was in ruins. Their home world lay defenseless before the combined fleet of the species they had once ruled. Reed's ship landed at the Dominion's capital, where their ruling council waited. They expected execution. Instead, they received an offer that shocked them. "Join us," Reed said, "not as rulers, but as equals. Show us that even the Dominion can learn to change." 1 month later, representatives from all 300 worlds gathered on Earth in the same United Nations building where humanity had first faced the Dominion's threat. They signed a new treaty. The Galactic Confederation was born, an alliance of equals where every species could contribute their unique strengths. High Commander Rex, stripped of his title but not his dignity, stood before the assembly. "We thought perfection meant never changing," he admitted. "Humanity taught us that true perfection lies in the ability to adapt, to grow, to become better than what we were." As the sun set on humanity's greatest victory, Reed looked out at the transformed world. Alien ships filled the sky, but now they came as friends and allies. Earth had become a symbol of hope across the galaxy. They had not just survived, they had changed the very stars themselves.